up, everybody? Well, I don't know how long I've got to make this, but I know that I need to get closer to be heard. And real quickly, I'm gonna unbox the item that made me pass on a few other deals because I'm tired of waiting. I ordered this around September the 3rd, and it finally has come in this shiny silver envelope. It was a bald little girl doll, and she came with a hat with hair attached, and it was all, flowing, so I braided it. But what I really wanted was the naked bald kid to make a blonde boy, kind of like John. Now that I've figured out how to thicken the paint with shaving cream. Don't know why I'm coughing. But I made it look more like a buzz cut without flocking. So there's a cute little boy. And with AI, I'm going to show him in different outfits. But I used this camouflage outfit with a t-shirt. And he could still wear the hat. But why would he want to? I want him to look more like a little boy and less like a girl who had cancer. So, there he is. What's up, everybody? Well, I'd like to continue this video in here, in this unfortunately noisy room, with this stupid refrigerator going. And I just wanted to continue what I was talking about, and how, one of my greatest thrills in life has always been like making kidcore and skipper-like flat-chested girl dolls into boys by removing their hair. And I think I want to title this video More Realism, Please. Because one thing I hate is I hate the way fantasy worlds, various types of fantasy worlds, and I guess some people accuse me of living there, I hate how unrealistic they are. And, so many things. There's just so many things that they could have done better in so many ways, so many worlds. And that's kind of what keeps me from fully enjoying them. There are just so many things that, whether it's a doll world, a cartoon, or what have you. I don't even get into video games. They're such crap. But I hate how unrealistic they are. And that they don't even try to be more realistic. Like doll worlds don't even attempt, in most cases, to make it look like there are two genders. If something is aimed at one sex, or if only one sex is predominantly interested in it, then they just make it like that's the only one that exists in that world, you know? Except for one token boy, you know, that's just the entire focus because of that. You know, but it's like they either omit one sex, like as if they don't exist. You know, they color horses purple and have them fly. In the case of Rugrats, they have freaking helium balloons, you know, that carry away dolls that in real life would never do that. You know, that little kid core boy would have been enough to anchor the balloon down. And then it's so sad, the balloon gets to the point where it can't even lift its own string. Once it loses enough helium, it's like limp, like, and then you blow regular air into it just to fatten it up. And you're left with a regular air balloon that needs a stick to stand up anymore. So, unfortunately, they don't last, but they certainly don't have the power to lift a doll like Cynthia. And as much as I hate the way, you know, they have boys' voices breaking, so to speak, you know, my lifelong obsession at young, ridiculously young ages, like Donnie Thornberry being 5. As much as I hate that, that is actually more realistic than a stupid helium balloon carrying a Barbie doll away. You know, it is more scientifically realistic for a toddler to reach puberty. You know, Google Patrick Burleigh, Burleigh, aptly named. You know, the name was so appropriate. Burleigh. You know, he hit puberty at age 2. But as much as I hate, you know, hearing adult men voice young boys that age, like little bitty boys, like Donnie, you know, I'd much rather it be a woman or, you know, a little boy of sorts. Much as I hate that, that's actually more scientifically realistic than a helium balloon lifting Cynthia away. Because as I stated before, you know, there are, you know, people with rare genetic conditions that cause them to hit puberty at ridiculous ages. You know, such as at the early and precocious puberty or delayed puberty, wherein they make Justin Bieber seem normal. Never hitting it until they inject testosterone. Wayne Newton and Ralph Macchio might be examples. Kallmann syndrome, I think it's called. And I wish I'd known that so I could have pretended to be a guy with Kallmann syndrome. When I was in high school and college and felt left out because all the boys had changed. But the thing is, that is more realistic than to have a balloon carrying away a stupid doll. And it would, I mean, they could have worked it out in such a way that it would have made sense. The episode really could have made sense. They could have made it Angelica's balloon with a picture of Cynthia on it. And she could have valued it for that reason. And it could have been flying away with no doll on it, but she could have been crying because she liked the balloon. Okay, so there are ways to work things out to make them more realistic. You know, like in Sofia the First, Minimus could have been a white horse with a rainbow mane or a purple mane, because it's more realistic to dye the horse's mane a ridiculous color. You know, like Starlight and Rainbow Bright, I think. It's more realistic for a horse to simply have a mane that's an unnatural color than the entire horse's body. Okay, just, you know, have a white horse with a purple mane. But they don't want to do that. They think the more ridiculous and stupid, the better. And I hate that. It makes me want nothing to do with that world, other than possibly collecting dolls, and then ask myself, why do I have all these dolls? Why do I need all these dolls? Why do I need to rebel this long and this hard against growing up? So, you know, I hate the lack of scientific accuracy in cartoons. And their only value in my mind, the only time I like it when they violate the laws of physics, is in hilarious puke scenes like this.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.